Hi, I just wanted to do a quick little video on how I make felted leaves because I'm in the middle of a project at the moment and I'm having to make hundreds of these little darlings, and I'm needing to make another sheet, so I thought it was a good opportunity to show you how I make my own. You can of course use felt sheets that you buy offline. In fact, this color here is actually pre-felted sheets that I bought, green, and so you can use that, but it's nice to be able to create colors that you want. Now I'm going to be using this green today, and I'm going to be adding some texture and a bit of variance with this recycled sari silk. But these are some of the colors that I've made to make these leaves here, and I've actually used wire to as the veins, and also for helping me attach the leaves, and I've added detail using both acrylic pen and felt tip. So you can really just, it just gives you the opportunity to have a brilliant play and just see what you can create. And these are little templates, just two of the little templates that I've just hand drawn, and you can make the leaves in whatever shape you want. So you will need, let me move these to one side so that we've got a clear deck. I'll show you what you need. Move these out of the way so we've got space. So what you will need is you'll need some parchment or baking paper, depending on where in the world you are and what it's called. You'll need wool. I use wool roving, and of any color, well, obviously greens, in whatever shade you fancy. And then I'm using this recycled sari silk to add a little bit of texture and a bit of depth to your leaves, but you can add anything really. You can, even if you've got some old green wool, that's a wool yarn, you could unravel it and chop it up into bits and add that if you want. And you could also find some thread from haberdasheries that you could add. So it's really up to you to let your imagination run wild. You'll need fabric fusing tape. This is bondweb, interweb. This is the thing that goes in between two sheets of, if you're hemming trousers or skirts or anything like that, and it obviously you put it between the two layers, and that bonds it together. So one side, in fact I think both sides, once you put heat on them it gets sticky. And this is green craft wire, and this is 0.5 mil thickness. I don't know what gauge that is, but if you just pop in 0.5 thickness wire, it will come up. So let's get going. It's ever so easy. So I open up the greaseproof paper, doesn't matter which side. This I have used before, so it might be, it might have lost its stick a bit. So what I start off doing is we're basically making a wool sandwich layer, and to enable the fusing tape to stick, we want these layers of wool to be super thin, because if they're too thick, then the fusing tape won't fuse all of the layers together. So I'm doing it super thin, and if you've pulled it off and it's a bit clumpy, you just fan it out. It gets very wispy, but this one is a little bit too clumped together. So as you see, I'm actually making it super fine. And then you're just making a layer. I'm making this sheet quite big because I didn't quite realize quite how many leaves I was going to need for this project that I'm making, which is Gaia. It's for an exhibition that I've got coming up. So Gaia, Mother Earth, the Fruitbearer, and she's got lots of leaves around her. So I'm doing this in stages because if I did it all at once, I'd get absolutely bored stiff. So I think that's, just put a little bit here. That's the size of my, that's going to be a bit too thick. Just fan it out a little bit, and then I just take the, oops, this is why you have to be very careful. Now you can, so I'm just taking the fusing tape and just placing it over the top. Now this is so thin that you can just pull it where you want it to, where you want to break it off, and it comes apart ever so easily. A bit too much on that one. And then working all the way down. Last one. And then place another layer over the top. Again, super fine. I'll put a little bit, because there's a little bit there that's bald. Oops, I'm going to redo that one because it's this bit here is a bit too thick. And then just a little bit here. When you're pulling the wool off this roving, the staple length on this is, you can see the length that it's come off the sheep is very long. So when I'm pulling off here, I'm actually holding in my less dominant hand quite far way down. I have to be holding the distance beyond the length of the staple, and it comes away very, very easily that way. If you were, I'll show you in a second. If you were to pull here, you can see it just doesn't pull. So just move your hands back and just pull it. It comes away very easily that way. It's a little bit thick there, so just fan it out a bit. Need a little bit down the bottom. And then just this last little row. Now this just takes a little bit of patience, but it's nice. It's a nice thing to do. It's very calming. And then one little bit, and then before, I'm not going to put, that's enough, is it enough? No, I'm going to put another row of what I'm doing. You see here with this, I'm actually, it doesn't desperately matter with this, but I find this works best. I'm actually overlapping the bonder web. If you see that I've left a little slit here, so it's basically overlapping the wonder web underneath the fusing tape, should I say. So I will have to take a piece at the end and cut it down the middle. I'll show you what I mean. I just figured that it just makes it even coverage, really. You get even stick. Now I'm sure if you overlapped from top to bottom like you did on the first one, it would be absolutely fine, but I'm just gonna cut down. Doesn't have to be exact. Oops, like that, doesn't matter because it's all going to melt when I put some heat on it. It's a little bit fiddly. It's probably best to do this away from your wool, but obviously I'm showing you in the camera, so my wool is right underneath it. There you go. Right, I can just rearrange all of this. Doesn't desperately matter. There you go. Tuck that in. And then I'm going to just put the, there you go. I'm going to put the thinnest layer of this, even thinner than before, because this is the layer I'm going to put the recycled sari silk. So I want to have bits of the interfacing showing, so that there's enough for the sari silk to attach itself to. I'm going to open that out even more. There you go. A couple more pieces, and then we'll put the sari silk. I don't really know how they make the sari silk, but I assume it is, well, I was going to say it's old sari. It must be old saris, but maybe they just cut up the fabric and chop it all up into strands. But I use it in my spinning as well as my needle felting. It's a lovely fibre. So I'm going to take the white bits out because I don't want white in my leaves. So with this, you see that it's very short fibre, but I'm going to just place very small bits. And I'm going to try and pop it into the places where the wool is thinnest so that it sticks. You don't need much of this at all. A little goes a long way with this sari silk, and you'll get a very nice effect because it stands out. The contrast is really lovely once this is made into a fabric. Now, if you wanted to make bigger leaves, I've done this method, but instead of doing the flat sheet and then attaching the wire afterwards, I've actually placed the wire in between the interfacing into the fusing tape. So after the first layer of the fusing tape, I've then put the wire horizontally, depending on what size or shape leaves you're going for. So I've placed it over the first layer of interfacing, then I've placed the wool, then the next layer of fusing tape, so that the wires are sticking out the bottom, and then your wires are already inside the felt that you've made. But I'm not doing it that way for these because the leaves that I'm making are really small, and I'd have to make huge pieces of, actually that's got, I don't want it in there. I'd have to make huge pieces of felt, and there are hundreds and hundreds of wires, and it would be a nightmare. So this is why I'm doing it this way for smaller leaves. Okay, that's enough. Move these out of the way. Okay, so then what I do, just clear the decks. Just fold this over so it's encased in this. So you've got like a wool sandwich, and the wool being the filling. Then I've got a hot iron. You can use fabric hair straighteners if you prefer. And then make sure that I'm using this wool ironing pad. You can do this on an ironing board, but I use these felting iron pads for my felting work anyway, and they're brilliant. I do all my felting work on them. I just find it's a good surface to work on. And then you just give time, just run the iron slowly over the wool, because you want to let the heat run through the wool and to actually allow that fusing tape to melt and fuse everything together. So just go slowly. We will be turning this over in a minute. So just giving it time to melt. I'm going to turn it over and do exactly the same this side. Here we go. And then what I'm going to do is just test to see whether it's stuck or whether I need to go over, give it another pass. Now this will have stuck to the paper, because I've used this paper quite a few times now, so it's lost a little bit, a bit sticky. But actually I'll just take it off. Okay, it could probably do. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna just do one more pass again. Just give it a bit more. Now this is going to need one more or a couple more processes before it's ready, but it depends on what you want. And I think that's going to be as much as I'm going to get with that. So move the iron out of the way. Now this is still a little bit, because I was going to say it's still a little bit fuzzy. Actually, it's not too bad. But if you make the wool too thick, you will get, the wool won't have stuck to the interfacing, and the wool underneath will be coming away, so you will have wool fibres everywhere. But also what I'm now going to do is I'm going to apply a coat of watered down PVA glue, because it gives it sort of glossy, well, it's not quite glossy, but it gives it seals everything in and sort of reduces any risk of any fluffy fibres coming through. So all I've done is I've just taken some, you can either use PVA, or this is actually, it was meant to be Fusible, but it's actually it's wood glue, PVA, transparent wood glue. And this is what it came as, but I've just watered it down. This is 50-50 mix. And you just take an old pot. This is what I now use for my glue. And I've just taken an old kiddie's paintbrush, and then you just go in the direction that you placed the wool down, because then it will run across the wool very easily that way. And we coat the whole side. Doesn't have to be neat, but so I'm doing it on the tin foil just to protect the surface. And just stops it from sticking to everything. Make sure that you get all those bits. Sorry if it's going out of shot. It's a bit slipping all over the place. And then once we've covered the whole lot, then you put it somewhere warm, let it dry, and then we do exactly the same the other side, which I will show you. I will have to obviously come back to you with once this is dry, which will take, in my house, it will take a little while because it's not the warmest of houses. But so there you go, very thin layer of Popopal or PVA glue. And I'll come back to you once that's dry. So here we are back again, and what I've done is obviously I've put the watered down PVA on one side of this wool, and then I've just done exactly the same with the other side. Obviously I've waited until this side was dry and then repeated it on the other side. It doesn't take that long. I mean, if you've got somewhere with a heat source, then don't get it near, but if it's ambient heat source is what I mean, then it doesn't take very long to dry at all. So what I've begun to do, just to speed along a little bit, because you want to see me cutting out all of these shapes, is I wanted some different leaf shapes. So I've just drawn out these leaves. These are all hand-drawn leaves. They're very basic shapes. With this one, you can just draw an oval and then just cut in these little notches to create that little difference. This one, I've obviously, how I've drawn it is I've drawn guidelines along here on this. This is a sycamore leaf, which helps me just sketch it out. But if you really struggle, there are lots of template drawings online that you can print off and scale down to the size that you want if you want to go down that route. So as you can see here, I've got different shapes. So this one is obviously, this one I've cut out. I've got more oval ones. I've got these little ones that I've just shown you the template for, and then I've got a smaller version. I'm just varying it up a little bit, giving a bit of variety to the artwork that I'm creating. It's a Gaia, Fruitbearer, the Mother Earth, so she's surrounded by lots and lots of leaves. So the smaller ones are for her headdress, and these ones will also go onto the headdress, but further back because they're a lot darker. And then I thought I'd done enough leaves, but hence why I've had to make some more flat felt, because there's an awful lot of leaves. So what I then do is I cut out the shapes. I've got some smaller, very similar shapes that I will do, and then I've just cut this wire. It's no set length, but I would say that's probably about 8 centimeters. It just depends on how long you want your leaf forms to be. So I have actually created these. So what I then do is I have one central one, which usually is a smaller leaf, and then I begin to twist the wire and then add in a leaf, depending on if you want the leaves side by side like this one, then you put 2 leaf shapes together and then twist all 3. So that one, and that one together. And then when you get down a bit further, then you add another 2 on. Or you can do it this way, where you've got, you start off by just adding 1 there. So you're just twisting 2 together, and then you add another one further down, and then another one. So it's entirely up to you how you do it. And so I've done the same with that one. So it's the leaves are staggered. And then you just keep on twisting until you get to the length. I mean, I've cut these short because obviously I don't need the whole length. To help, I have got these flat-nosed curved pliers. They don't need to be curved, but these little ones, these help hugely. And obviously you need your snips for snipping your wire. So give that a go, and let me know how you get on, and I hope you make amazing, beautiful things, and I hope it's been helpful. All right, I'll catch you very, very soon. Right, take care. Bye.